Okay, I stopped reading this book on the 13th of March, and this is the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And I got to page 417 of 458, and I can't take it anymore. This is the last time that I ever read a book from someone I've never heard of before that's nearly 500 pages. Gifted to me or not, I'm not going to do it ever again. I got two books this year that were massive, of people I'd never heard before. One was some kind of vlogger guy, and I already reviewed his earlier, and it was straight awful, the other one. This one is not awful. It's just freaking weird. So the persons that gave this to me did it because they know I like murder mystery books, which are Agatha Christie and Perry Mason and Sherlock Holmes and things of that nature. So they figured this would probably be like that. It's not like that. It might have a small piece of that, but it also has a whole ton of violence, drugs. It comes off like, I kept thinking all the way through this, there's a fine line between someone being creative and nuts. And this sounds like somebody that wrote it that's nuts. This Stuart Turton, I don't know if he's a mental case or what, but you know, he had to map this thing out so crazy. It's like combining, they said on the back, I'm going to read you what the back says. I don't like sci fi. I'll tell you straight up, I don't like sci fi. I like stuff that's based on planet Earth. Evelyn Hardcastle will be murdered at 11 p.m. There are 8 days and 8 witnesses for you to inhabit. We will only let you escape once you tell us the name of the killer. Understood? Then let's begin. So there's this weird doctor with the bird mask or some plague mask on, like Edgar Allan Poe or something, and he's bouncing in and out of this and giving hints about figuring it out. And they die every time the day is over and all this stuff, and people killing everybody left and right. And I can't tell you what I finally figured out at the end, but by this time the revelations were starting to come, I was like, oh man, are you kidding me? This is freaking stupid. So at the top of page 417, I was just getting exasperated. I read like near 100 pages 2 days in a row each day. And the top of 417 says, it's getting worse. That was it. It triggered it for me. It was like, you just read my mind. It's getting worse. The farther I get into this, the dumber it gets, the weirder it gets. And it's a bummer because it was intriguing at the beginning. And I would say it's written well. The scenery, all the descriptions are great. It's not written poorly. And like I said, this guy had to map this thing out to the nth degree for it to do what it's doing. But the persons that just want to read a book and enjoy it, you can't. This thing, you got to be like so tied into this that it's got to be like your whole existence for the whole time you're reading this book. And I read some other review. It says you have to go back a second time to see other things that you didn't catch the first time. I was like, no, I don't want to do that, man. I want to read a book that shows itself to me the first time and it's good and I like it and I'm happy. And I don't want to have to read 458 pages twice to understand what I'm reading, because if you have to do that, it probably is just too weird or doesn't make sense. And I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, maybe I could skim it to the end. I got 40 pages. I got 10 and I couldn't even do that. I can't do it anymore. So in the future, nobody that I know give me a 458 page book from persons I never heard before. Stick with the classics, people that are known by everybody because they put out stuff that's continuously good and they have big catalogs. I like reading stuff from people I trust. Um, I mean, it's like going on a blind date with somebody you know nothing about and then finding out they're an axe murderer at the end. I just can't do this anymore. It takes up too much time. I could have been reading something really good. I've got a lot of books up here that I like, and I don't like this one. It's not as bad as the last one, but it's pretty bad.